you struggle with everyday small things, like how to hang toilet paper this or next Thursday, the proper use of y'all? Then join Gary and JR as they consider these and other trivial matters. The Small Things Considered podcast from Ranch Hand Records, appearing every other Tuesday, alternating with Three Things of JR.
Hello and welcome back to Three Things with JR. It's 12:31 on a.m. on Monday morning, November 13th. I'm recording this as we are now halfway through our run of performances of Anastasia. 3 down, 3 to go. And I am both super excited to have 3 more shows to do, plus a brush-up rehearsal. So 4 more runs through this wonderful character of Vlad and this amazing show with this amazing cast. I am also not looking forward to it being over. I wish there was 20 more shows to do. It is that much fun. And I hope you don't miss it. You have 3 chances left to go see Anastasia this coming weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th. You really need to be there. I really hope you see it if you haven't already. So I got a couple days off, sort of. I don't have any Anastasia rehearsals or performances Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday this week. However, I've got 2 rehearsals to go to for the next show that I'm in, which is Elf the Musical at the Wayne Theater, opening November 30th. More information on that, though, in a future episode. So I've actually got a special guest on today's show, and in this year has not been a year of special guests on Three Things with JR, but I have one today. I recorded an interview with the lovely and talented Kiki Osbourne, my girlfriend, who is podcast averse. She doesn't typically listen to podcasts, and she definitely doesn't really want to be on a podcast. It took a lot to get her to be on this show, and I sort of sprung it on her. I didn't have a plan. It was just like, she was like, I'm going to go to bed, and I was like, I want to record my podcast, and then I thought, hey, we're both in Anastasia. We've been together doing this now for 3 months, hardcore now for the last week or so, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to talk about that while we are in the heat of Anastasia? And so I suggested it, and she said, no, I'm too tired. I'm going to fall asleep. So I literally physically dragged her over to the microphone and set it all up, had everything ready to go, and hit record and just started talking to her. And she sat down close enough to the mic that you'll be able to hear her. And we talked about a bunch of wonderful stuff, mainly Anastasia. So that's coming up. Before we get to that, I'm going to do a really quick 3 things, and then my interview with Kiki Osbourne. So here we go. Thing number 1. Are you wondering what to say to someone after you just watched them do perform in a stage production? Here's a compliment you can give to an actor who just finished pouring their heart into a character on stage. You watched it, and hopefully you just have a bunch of wonderful things to say, but here's a very specific compliment you can give that person that will really make them proud of their work. And that compliment would be something like this: I loved all of your subtle acting choices. I mean, it's easy to compliment, oh man, you were singing great, you were dancing awesome, I loved what you did there, you look like you were having fun. Yes, all of those are wonderful compliments, and say those to us as well. But if you notice the little things they're doing on stage, whoa, that feels really good, because a lot of that stuff gets missed by a lot of people, and if you're picking up on that, it's very rewarding for that actor. It helps if you can provide a specific example. For example, like when you were in the background, your facial expressions really helped reveal what was happening with the main characters. I found myself watching you even when it wasn't really your scene. Say something like that, and they will. I mean, I can't tell you how proud they will be, how happy they will be that you noticed those small little things they're doing even when they're not the main action in the show, to move the story along, to help tell the story. It's really fun. And this compliment works for anybody in the show, if they're from ensemble to main principal lead characters, as long as you mean it. Don't do this unless you mean it, which means you're going to have to pay attention to all the little things going on stage, even the stuff that isn't necessarily the main action. And to accomplish this, you might have to see that show multiple times. By the way, there's 3 more shows to choose from in Anastasia, November 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Thing number 2.
Okay, let's talk about something other than Anastasia for a minute. Thing number 2 is usually about what I've enjoying watching, listening to, reading, whatever. Haven't had a ton of time to watch a ton of TV shows. There are select few shows that I have made time for, even with as busy as I've been doing the Anastasia stuff here the last few months, and that is The Amazing Race. It is by far and away my favorite reality show, and in fact, the only reality show that I watch. It is halfway through its 35th season, and it is better than ever. I think probably because of the writer's strike, these episodes are an hour and a half long instead of only an hour long, which means there's more. You get more of all of the wonderful things about Amazing Race. And it is, for me, appointment viewing, even when I don't have time to be making TV show watching appointments. And I'll watch other shows. There's other stuff I want to watch, and I'll get to watch them all in a few weeks when I, suddenly have a shit ton of free time. But right now, The Amazing Race is kind of it. And it's not only appointment viewing for me, it's also appointment viewing for my mother, and I enjoy watching it with my mother, despite the fact that she's in Florida. So we watch the show. We start it at the exact same time. When I called it appointment viewing, which usually means you watch it when it airs, but that's not exactly what we do. We wait until at least the next day to watch it, because the next day it goes from being available on my DVR to available on Paramount Plus. And if you pay enough with Paramount Plus, you get it commercial free. So her and I will text each other, pause the show at the opening scene, and then hit play at the exact same time and watch the show synchronized together, phones in hand, texting back and forth about what's going on in the show, what made us laugh, who we think's going to win, who we think's going to lose, that kind of stuff. And then after the show, we'll call each other and chit-chat about it. And it's just wonderful. Sometimes I do fall asleep. That's because I'm, pretty busy, don't get a lot of sleep these days. And I have to catch up before we can chat about it. And then mom calls me and wakes me up and things like that. It's great. Why is Amazing Race so good? It's a travel show with incredible scenery. Challenges are fantastic. When you watch it, I just can't help but think about all of the logistics it takes to make this show happen. I just want to be I would love to be involved in making The Amazing Race, but it is fun to watch because of that. And even after 34 seasons, you cannot figure out who's going to win. Not only who's going to win the entire season, but who's going to win each week, each episode, each leg of the race. This show is not predictable in that way, which I think is the sign of a really well done reality show. So they also don't fake the drama. Too many of those reality shows, they're say something to fake a cliffhanger to leave you wanting more through the commercial break, that kind of stuff. Amazing Race doesn't bother with any of that. They don't need to, because the show is engaging enough on its own that you aren't going to tune away from it. You will be back. Yeah, and even the people that are on this current episode are all likable. They're all people you'll want to root for, and it's just fun to see them go around the world doing fun stuff, experiencing the local cultures, and racing each other. So I'd be cool if any of the remaining teams would win, because they're all just great. Anyway, The Amazing Race, it's awesome. Check it out if you haven't already, and if you want, you can go on Paramount Plus and watch it starting season 1 all the way through season 35. I have done this, and it is great.
Thing number 3.
My new iPhone is awesome. Yes, it is the same as my old iPhone, which was also awesome. This one is just better at being awesome. I have a full terabyte of memory, a faster processor, and a battery that just keeps going and going and going. For example, if I wanted to turn the camera on and record for 2.5 straight hours, I don't know why I would want to do that right now, but I do. This phone will do it. No problem, with memory and battery to spare. And now, Kiki and I talk about Anastasia. All right, I'm sitting here in the dining room at my studio, and I've got a special guest, a reluctant special guest. She really, really wants to go to bed because it's 1:45 and it is past her bedtime. We have had 8 straight days of rehearsals and performances of Anastasia, and I think we want to talk about it. But she claims she's going to fall asleep if I try to make her be on this podcast. But she just sat down in the chair, so we might have the wonderful and talented Kiki Osbourne on the show today. Kiki, are you willing to talk to me?
Wow.
You got to be a little closer. You got to be a little close. You can hold it if you want, or you can lean in. You got to lean in. Be like this far from the mic. There we go.
Okay, I'm getting closer to the microphone.
Right on. All right, cool. Kiki Osbourne on 3 Things with JR. This is the second time this has ever happened. And so let's just jump right into it. 8 straight days of Anastasia. How are you feeling about the show so far?
I'm feeling like we had a really good time the last 8 days. Day 5, I was pretty tired. But then day 6, 7, 8 has been performances for a live audience, and that's been super, 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 super fun and much better.
So we had a 4 or 5 days of straight up rehearsals that were full dress rehearsals, makeup, everything. And then the last 3 nights, audiences in butts in seats. How much of a difference did it make having people there to watch the show?
I think it made a huge difference. The first couple nights at Tech, we probably didn't want people in seats. So we worked things out, but by about the 4th or 5th run, we were really ready to perform for people, and we needed some reactions from audiences, and we wanted to hear some clapping, and we wanted to hear people laughing and enjoying it, and that really helped a lot.
Of the 3 performances we've done, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday matinee, forget the audience for a second. Which one of those 3 did you feel was as a whole company, our strongest performance?
I think our strongest performance was yesterday, so performance 2, Saturday. But today wasn't far behind.
Jennifer, our director, warned us of the potential for a Saturday slump, right? You open the show Friday night, and then you got all that adrenaline Friday night, and of course everybody's got a bunch of energy, and then sometimes Saturday night isn't quite as energetic from the cast. I didn't feel like that happened at all. Did you feel like a Saturday slump happened?
Not at all. I think everyone was better and more aware of things and more on their toes, and no, I thought it was great.
And Sundays can be weird as far as the audience goes because you never know what you're going to get. Typically an older crowd, Sunday at 3 p.m., people that don't want to necessarily drive late at night, that kind of thing. But did they come from church? Did they come from brunch? Were they drinking? Were they praying to God? I mean, who all are you getting on a Sunday? I thought we had a pretty good Sunday crowd today.
We did, and we had a lot of our friends in the crowd, so that helped.
So you have an ensemble track through the show, and we counted it up yesterday. It turns out you have something like 7 or 8 individuals, different people that you're playing, and a total of 9 different costume changes and appearances, right? Like something like that. Is that daunting to think about that, or have you found it easy to do? Like, tell me how it's been for you.
Daunting's a strong word. A little confusing at first, but once we put it all together and we started running the scenes even without costumes. It seemed like it was doable, and then adding costumes seemed a little difficult the first couple days, but then we sorted it out, and yeah, it's kind of fun actually.
You know, thinking back to the beginning where we were rehearsing in the basement of a church, our director was gone for a week or two. Things seemed a little less obvious how we were going to get from there to a finished product. And as things rolled along, especially once we got to rehearse on the stage in the theater, it's things started to come together. You could see how it was actually going to happen. Many things didn't actually fully realized until Tech Week, and I would say even Friday night opening night, everything seemed to finally be there and in place.
Yep, I agree.
For you, what type of things finally came into reality in the last few days there?
I mean, definitely just how everything was flowing together and how I was getting from scene to scene and character to character, and getting on and off the stage, and who's going on with me at the same time, and just kind of how everything flowed. And when I could stand off to the side on the stage and watch some things, and when I needed to be changing costumes, and all of that just kind of came together.
Were you able to do more with your 7, 8, 9 characters once you were able to really see where they fit into the scenes and the show and all of that?
Yeah, absolutely, and probably still will do more with them next week. Now that I even know more.
Can you give me an example of something you found in your character fairly late in the process that you really enjoy doing? Any one of your 7, 8, 9 characters.
I think the character in both Paris and the Neva Club, which could potentially be the same character. Yeah, I mean, just figuring out how they fit into the social scene in the Neva Club or the social scene in Paris, and how they're interacting with the others. And yeah, that's been... Yeah.
Would you say do you enjoy the acting part of it? I know you enjoy the singing part of it. You're a singer first, right? But what about the acting? You've got a few lines in this show. You didn't really have too many, if any, lines in Sound of Music, right?
No, I have one line in this show. One.
In this show?
One.
You got 2 lines. Well, one of them's a singing line. So yeah, so one
that just counts as singing.
acting line. Okay, I got it. So one acting line. How do you feel about the acting?
I enjoy the acting. I just haven't done as much acting as I have done singing. So to get out there and make myself try to be in different character for different scenes is definitely more difficult than singing the songs, but figuring it out as I go.
Do you find yourself thinking about small, subtle things, like even just like what is my facial expression during this line that somebody else is saying, but what am I doing while the main action is going on over there?
Yep, I am trying to think about that for sure.
What do you have planned for next weekend that you are going to add into your
I can't
characters?
think about that till next week.
How are you going to enhance your 9 roles?
I don't know. It is. I will say the first scene, the St. Petersburg scene, it's fun because you're interacting with all the other, we're selling things and we're trading things around, and every night it's a little different. I end up keeping my thing I'm selling or trading it or ending up with something different, and you never quite know who's going to want what, and it always changes. So that's kind of fun.
In that scene, it's pretty much everybody, right? There's like 36, 37 people on stage.
Yep.
And it's a bit of an organized chaos, but yeah, you end up like not everybody is in the exact same place at the exact same time every single night. Never. Especially in a scene like that. And it's fun when you get to have new experiences, even though you're doing the exact same thing you've been doing for the last...
Singing the exact same thing the whole time, but yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
That's one of my favorite things about this, is that each show is different. And you find new things in each show. That's one of the things I've loved about doing it.
For sure. Yeah. And there's several scenes like that. I mean, even Paris is choreographed, but then there's still other things going on, and there's some choreography in Neva Club as well, but there's a lot of other things going on. So, yeah.
The dancing. Do you like the dancing?
I like the dancing. Again, I'm not a dancer. I'm a singer. So I'm trying to be more of a dancer.
It's nice to have very specific things to do, right?
Yes.
As opposed to like solo dancing
No,
or,
There'd be no improv dancing for me.
right. What is your favorite scene in the show?
I probably have 3.
3 favorite scenes.
That may be too many. Can I only pick one?
Let's do them in order. Third, second, first. So third favorite scene.
Probably Paris.
So that's the opening scene of the second act.
Yep.
The song we sing is called Paris Holds the Key, and it's where our main 3 characters have gone from Russia to Paris, and they're just reveling in the beauty and joy of no longer being in Russia, and they are now in Paris, France, set free. They've got some money to spend and some sights to see, and everybody in the show is on stage dancing and singing about how wonderful it is to be in Paris.
Yep. And there's a lot of fun costumes. I get to wear a fun dress, and yep, that's fun.
So that's the third favorite scene. That's a good one. Second favorite?
Rumor in St. Petersburg.
So that sort of that second main scene at the beginning of the show.
Yep.
It's kind of where the story really starts to be told, as far as the main 3 characters. And so what is your first favorite? Your number one favorite
I like
scene?
Neva Club.
The Neva Club.
The Neva Club.
And this is where, of course, you get to speak your line.
I get to say a line.
And there's dancing.
There's dancing. There's fun, sequiny, sparkly dresses.
Oh, that's right. This is where you wear the
headpieces,
peacock
I wear a
dress.
peacock dress. Yeah. And we get
Which
to...
you look beautiful in, by the way.
Why, thank you.
Yes.
Wearing the bird.
And then the song is
The
fantastic.
song's really fun. Yep.
The Land of Yesterday, probably the most fun song in the show. Mm-hmm. It's the grooviest, for sure.
Yeah, and it's fun to watch I don't do the main dancing, but we get to cheer the dancers on, and we don't have to be perfect in our dancing because we're supposed to have been drinking a little bit. So it's, even if you're wrong, it's okay because you can act drunk or just not know what you're doing.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It becomes a choice that you made as an actor at that point rather than any kind of mistake or anything.
Right, absolutely.
It's so freeing to have scenes like that where you can... Technically, you're not doing maybe exactly what you were supposed to be doing, but that's okay because it actually works for the scene as long as you remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that's fun. And it's a high energy scene and really just a lot of fun.
How cool was it having your parents here to come see it?
Cool. Is that a trick question?
It's not a trick question. I mean, both of our parents, my mom, your mom and dad, drove a long way to see the show.
Yes, they did.
They saw the same show Saturday night on opening weekend. And, I mean, your parents went out of their way. What did they drive? 2 days to get here. We had lunch, saw the show, spent the night, and then left before we even woke up in the morning so they could get home. That's a lot to come see your show.
It's a lot. I figured they would do that because they always try to come see stuff like that. So, although last week they said they weren't coming, and then 24 hours later they were coming. So, yeah, it was. I'm glad they came. I'm glad they got to see it.
Yeah,
and I think they are too.
Okay, you have been my biggest critic with regards to singing. You have a lot more training, a lot more skill, a lot more knowledge than I do. I have a passion for it, but I don't have the baseline education and talent that you have when it comes to singing. And I worked very hard on the singing I have to do in this show. And so this sounds like I'm just fishing for a compliment here, but I'm seriously not. I want to know your honest assessment now that we've had 3 full-on performances where I don't get to excuse screwing up, missing notes, things like that at a rehearsal where I can say, I got it for show night. How did I do? And feel free to be brutally honest. You've heard me do it for real for 3 different audiences. Did I miss a bunch of notes? Did I hit most of them? Give me a percentage. Give me thoughts. Anything you want to say.
Yeah, I think you hit most of the notes. Most of the notes.
Let's compare this to a previous show, a specific one that I'm thinking of. Something Rotten. I had a pretty big scene with a lot of singing. I have watched the bootleg video that was made of me singing those notes in that show. I can't stand to watch it. Like that was I had a lot of fun, but I was not great as far as hitting the notes. I wasn't consistent. It was clearly I wasn't very trained. Have I improved since then?
Yes, you've improved. Did you get your compliment?
I wasn't fishing for a compliment. I want to know a serious assessment from you because again, you're my biggest critic and a big motivator for me to actually work on this and try to be better as a singer.
I think in general you did a great job. You're hitting the notes. Once you're into the song, you're on it. I think it's hard to hear a track play up in some speakers and find the right note every single time at this point.
Yeah, it's that first note that I sometimes struggle with.
If you nail the first note or two, then we're okay. If we don't nail the first note or two, then it takes a little bit to get it on the right track, and then it's on the right track.
You know, most of the singing I've done in my life has been in the car by myself singing along with songs where I have the volume turned up very loud. So I just try to emulate what I'm hearing, which means I'm just singing along with the melody. I don't harmonize at all. And, you know, if I miss that first note, I just swoop into the right note. And as you've pointed out to me many times, that's not what you do when you're singing live solo in front of people.
Yourself. Yeah, no.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Solo, so you can't just get away with that. No. So that's been working hard on that.
Yep, I can tell you've been working hard on it. It's definitely better.
Awesome. When are we going to do our next show together?
Don't know. We got to get through next week.
Yeah, people are already saying, what's your next thing? And I mean, I have another show coming up, but when are we going to do another show together? Like, that's going to be... We've lucked out this year. 2023 was the year of you and me getting to do 2 different shows together, which means a lot of drive time, a lot of shared rehearsal time, performances. We're together a lot doing these shows, which is awesome. Can you even think of like another show that qualifies that we would both want to do badly enough?
We have to look at the schedule. I don't know what's coming up.
Yeah.
I have one particularly in my head that's coming up in the summer next year, but it definitely is it's with the Charlottesville Opera, and it's if they open it to the community members to sing with, and they're doing the Music Man.
I have found it doesn't jinx anything to talk about roles you want in shows that are coming up.
I don't know what role I wouldn't want to just be on stage somewhere for the Music Man.
You just want to be a part of it.
Yeah, I would like to be a part of it.
The Music Man would be a lot of fun. I remember seeing the movie in school as a kid, seeing the Broadway show with Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster last year. I every time I watch a show, I look at the show and go, who could I be? You know, I'm almost 50. I know what I look like physically. I know my physical limitations. Which of these characters could I possibly play, and would I enjoy doing that? And I don't remember the show clearly enough to know the name even of the character, but Harold Hill's friend that he reconnects with when he gets to his little town in Iowa, that guy. Mm-hmm. I want to be that guy. Mm-hmm. I think I could do that guy and have a lot of fun. If that
guy may be cast by a professional opera singer, so you might not get to play that guy.
It's not fair.
Go start singing with the Charlottesville Opera.
Yeah, I need to get opera trained.
Better work on those first notes.
First notes. I need to audiate, as my singing coach has pointed out as well.
Hear it, then sing it.
Hear it, then sing it. That's not the easiest thing in the world to do. How do you do it?
I hear it, then I sing it. That's
You
it.
just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
When you've had enough practice, it
Well,
becomes just something you can do.
I mean, I spent many years listening to intervals and scales and having to recognize what those were and take tests on those and all of that. And yeah, that day in and day out practice goes a long way. Just that. Not practicing songs, not practicing anything. Just literally listening to two notes together, played back and forth, all of that. Really, every day though, like through high school, every single 5 days a week, we had stuff like that. So just ingraining that stuff into your memory is important and helps.
All right, you heard it here first, everybody. Practice. Do it a whole bunch. There's this guy I watch on YouTube. He's a drummer. His name is El Estepario Siberiano, and his videos have gone viral because he is probably the best drummer I've ever seen. Technically, he can do stuff that I've just never seen any other drummer able to do. And some videos he talks about it, and one of his things that he strongly believes and talks about is that he doesn't have some special talent that others don't have. He simply practices every day for a lot of hours every day. And these things we see him do on YouTube are the result of all of the practice, not some natural God-given talent that he just has. And he believes that that's true for most things. It's to do it, and to do it well, it takes the practice.
It takes lots and lots of practice, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Lots of practice. And not just singing songs along with the radio. It's a whole different ballgame.
I'm finding out that has not served me well. Like, that has not helped me be a better singer. It's probably enabled me to do things wrong and not even know. And now I'm correcting those things. So that's an uphill battle at the age of 49. So that's what I'm fighting.
Gotta teach the old dog new tricks.
Old dog, new tricks. Maybe that might be the title of this episode. Look at this. We just talked for how long? 22 minutes. And you're still awake. You told me you were going to fall asleep if I made you do this podcast. But you didn't.
You didn't? I'm still awake.
Thank you for talking to me on this podcast. This podcast just got a lot better because you're here.
I don't know about that, but
I didn't have a long list. I had a couple things I wanted to say. But then I thought, when would be a better time? Because Anastasia's going to be over next weekend.
And we're going to talk about other things.
We don't even have to talk about other things right now.
Right.
I just really wanted to focus on our shared experience doing Anastasia while we are kind of in the middle of it, in the thick of it, in the heat of it. Like, I can't tell you how excited I am that we get to do it 3 more times. Plus a rehearsal. I'm excited about a rehearsal.
I'm excited that I don't have to put my makeup on Thursday.
That is nice.
That's what I'm excited about.
We don't have to do hair and makeup.
You don't have any hair to do.
I don't have to do hair, thank goodness. But yeah, the amount of hair doing for this show is pretty remarkable. But yeah, for me, it will be nice not to have to do the whole makeup thing.
Yeah, but I do think costumes are good to keep practicing since it's a bit like NASCAR back there.
Yeah, lots of zippers.
Lots of zippers, on, off zippers. We're all really good at helping each other with our zippers.
That's important. I do get help from other guys in the guys' dressing room. I need help putting on my bow tie each night because I can't. It's a clip-on. I don't know what I would do if I had to tie a bow tie. This is a clip-on bow tie, and I can't do that myself, so I need help with that. And then our Dimitri character, Scott, he needs help tying his shoes for a quick change. So we're helping each other, but there's no zippers involved.
There's a lot of zippers.
The guys are not helping each other with their zippers. That's not happening.
I hope not. Be awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, we got that.
Good to know.
Love you, babe. Thank you for being on the show.
Love you. No problem.
You can go to bed now.
I'm going to bed.
Want. Good night.
Good night.
So there you have it. Kiki and I talking Anastasia. Somehow I was able to convince her to be on the show, and I'm so glad she did. Big thanks to her for giving up 25 minutes of sleep to talk to me about the thing we talk about all the time anyway. So that's it for another episode of Three Things with JR. Thank you for listening. Next week, it will be an episode of Small Things Considered. So if you haven't already subscribed to that podcast, my other podcast, you should do so. And thank you again for listening. We'll see you next week.